breaking free. Yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression. It's out for liberty. Breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts. We're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty. Breaking free, yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. They try to silence us, but we won't be tamed. Voices getting louder, can't keep us in chains. We got the power, we got the might. Together we can shine, together we can fight. Feel the rhythm in your feet, it's time to stand tall. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No more oppression, it's out for liberty. Breaking free, yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. We're claiming our land.
I hate this show. Oh my goodness.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Are You Smarter Than a Politician? This is your gateway drug to liberty. Tonight, trust in the political establishment is collapsing. So what comes next? 3 members of the Libertarian Party National Committee step into the arena to tackle the biggest questions about freedom, power, war, privacy, the economy, justice, and the future of America. This is the next wave of liberty. Get ready, because tonight you decide who is smarter than a politician. Joining us tonight, the chair of the Libertarian Party, Evan McMahon. You can find him on X at LP Chair. His other details are there. How are you tonight, Evan?
Doing great, Free. It's awesome to be here.
How's it going being chair?
Sure. Yeah, it's a barrel of fun every day, all day. It's amazing. Love it. Tonight, I am rocking the Don't Spy on Me t-shirt, one of the new designs available in shop.lp.org. You can get wonderful merch there, new updates. We're adding 5 new t-shirts every month, a couple of hats, some coffee mugs, and big giant flags. So check out shop.lp.org.
I love the new merch. I was checking it out. We got to get dry fits, though. We sweat down here in Florida, so we need some dry fits. So that was my little comment. But I love the new designs. I love that you lowered the prices too. I think it was $20 for T-shirts, $30 for hoodies. I mean, that's like Obama era pricing. I mean, that's like pre-inflation. That's some good stuff. So appreciate that. All right. Also joining us tonight, a good friend of the show. She might take over the show, but she's also the vice chair of the Libertarian Party, Amanda Griffiths. You can find the Libertarian Party at lp.org. She is also an LP Alliance first mover. You can find them on X at LP_allies, and she's on X at Ajax the Griff. How are you tonight, Amanda?
I'm doing great. Every time that I come on the show, I come out against something new, and I think tonight's the perfect night to come out against Libertarian Party chairs. I'm taking a bold stance against LP chairs, and I intend to make that known through the points.
Are you talking about the furniture or people?
I can see that the actual chair too is against LP chairs, since there's not one in his incredibly decorated office, but just general chairs of the Libertarian Party. I think we can have vices only. It is a party of vice after all.
Yeah. No, we moved Evan into the bunker because of all the turmoil in the world caused by the Trump administration. So, we're keeping him safe. Yeah. So that's where he is tonight.
Very good.
And first time on the show, Keith Thompson. He's an at-large rep on the LNC. He is also the chair of LP Louisiana. You can find them at lplouisiana.org, and you can find them on X at LP Louisiana or at Louisiana LP, and he's on X at Keith for Liberty. How are you tonight, Keith?
I'm great. I don't know what I've gotten myself into, but hopefully Amanda will do her best to make me look good in comparison.
That's great. Yeah, we appreciate when people come on the show and don't watch it first, because if they watched it first, they might not come on the show. So
I didn't want spoilers.
Yeah, that's fair. Also joining us tonight, our lovely producer, Terry Bad. How are you tonight, Terry?
I am ready to go, and the chat is already on fire. This is going to be amazing. I can't wait. Let's go.
Awesome. All right. And our Friday night show is sponsored by Xano. Tired of surveillance coins dressed up as freedom tech? Xano's the real deal. Open source, enterprise grade privacy, scalable and secure. Build, spend, and tokenize any asset without the peeping eyes. Xano isn't just private, it's none of their business. And if you're new to this space, visit intro.xano.org to learn how Xano gives you the power to own your own data, your money, and your assets, all in one simple, secure platform built for real world freedom. We appreciate Xano. Xano was at the Libertarian National Convention, so hopefully if you were there, you stopped by and saw them. They've been supporting the party, and we appreciate that as well. Let's see. And also, I wanted to thank our subscribers. And if you'd like to subscribe to us on X, you can do so for exclusive content and all that good stuff. If you'd like to sponsor us, email studio@freedomuncut.com. We will be at the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival. It's coming up quick, a couple of weeks, August 6th through 9th at Lake Satoshi in Michigan. And if you want to register for that, go to mplfest.org. I'm giving a talk. Amity's giving a talk. And then we're doing the game show live on Saturday night. So come by. It looks like a good time. I've wanted to go for years, so I'm really excited to go. Let's jump into the chat and say hello. Oh, the chat is hopping. Let's see here. Chris says it's going to be a good libertarian show. Chris is a subscriber. Thanks, Chris. Jonathan Miller, who's running for NC Senate, also a subscriber. Appreciate you being here, brother. Dan, another subscriber's here. What's up, buddy? Darren's here. What's up, Darren? Amity's another subscriber. And, a little bit closer. Libertarian Party's here. Welcome. HVAC Soldiers here. McConnell, alive or dead, or Schrodinger's McConnell. That sounds like an Amanda article right
Rigor
there.
Tortoise has set in for Mitch.
Oh, nice. I like that. I went with Kentucky Fried Senator or something. I forgot what I went with there.
It's pretty good, too.
Yeah. Kyle's here. What's up, Kyle? 8:03 and they haven't started yet. Terry's always on time. I feel like we were closer than that. Phil's here, another subscriber, and both from LP Alliance. And appreciate you, Phil. First 200 to my bestie, Evan. Okay, here we go. 200 to Amanda because she's about to stick bug on all of you.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
It's my spirit animal now.
Yeah.
She has her hair up to threaten us.
200 to Andrew Heaton for showing up eventually. Yeah, no, he was on the show live at Freedom Fest. That was a lot of fun. He's hilarious. His name may be mentioned shortly. You never know. 200 to anyone who actually breaks free. Okay. Yeah, Amanda comes very close every time she's on.
We'll do our best.
Yeah. -6 to Keith for overdressing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fair. Liberty Shamrockers here. What's up? 196 to Evan for the based shirt. Available on lp.org at the new low pricing. 100 points to Evan for wearing the same shirt as me. Is this at the same time, Jonathan? Because that seems uncomfortable. 200 deflocking points to Evan. 200 to Evan for the Don't Spy on Me shirt. People are loving the shirt. Go buy the merch.
It's a good shirt.
100 to Evan for the shirt prices. I'm with you, Tony. I like the lower prices. 100 to Evan for sporting the new merch. 200 to Amanda because she hates taking naps.
I will say, can plug the merch because that was actually designed by an LP Alliance person. So
Nice.
We got some creative folks there.
A little late. Evan already got all
It was
the
designed by me, right?
Was it? Yes, it was it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you designed this, Keith?
Oh, I'm sorry, Amanda's.
No, this was something Keith, and then the Don't Spy on Me was designed by someone else. I thought, yeah.
Because the Don't Tread on Anyone that Amanda's wearing is also available in shop.lp.org.
It is, yes, yes.
Let me zoom. She's far from the camera. Let me zoom. Uncomfortable close up. I'm just gonna let it linger for a second. There we go.
I can't do the Frida stare though, so you gotta.
Wait, go back. I was reading her disc.
It's all about me. I'm pretty sure.
Look at that long paragraph in the corner.
Yeah.
That's a dissertation right there.
It actually is.
Viewers, regular viewers will know I call that the Amanda Festo on her desk. see. Yeah, but Keith got points for being sharp dressed here.
Oh, yay.
The great Joe Hanush here, a liberty warrior, a great Libertarian Party person. He's given 100 points to Zano. We love Zano. Jake Days here, my bodyguard from Freedom Fest and a subscriber. 200 to Evan if he ever wears a color other than yellow.
All right, strip.
You know, when I wear my Dr. Pepper shirt, I get razzed.
Yeah.
And then
I have
when
a
I wear
picture.
yellow shirts, I get razzed. So
I have a picture of the
actually
two
in
of
the
us
promo
wearing the
video,
Dr. Pepper.
I'm wearing a yellow flannel with my Dr. Pepper shirt.
Yeah,
So,
so you wear a lot of yellow. I think
Yeah,
you'll
that's also yellow. I feel like I heard yellow there.
Yeah.
All right. 100 to the LNC members because they're not paid and not embezzling.
That you know of.
Heartland News is here. Minus 100 to Evan for when he eventually gets hangry and is hankering for Korean barbecue. Yeah, we've seen that happen.
real close, just saying.
Yeah. Waz is here. What's up, Waz? Greetings from the artist currently known as Waz. Perfectly Good Ink is here. Naps rule minus 200 to Amanda. That's fair.
Why do you hate the nap, Amanda?
That's what I meant. I meant like we shouldn't be taking naps on the LNC.
Yeah. 186 to Keith for designing the shirt. Another 12 for all the based memes. I like that. 200 to both Keith and Amanda, each for the creation of design and who was wearing it. 100 to Amanda and Evan for repping merch shirts. Only plus 50 for Leaf. Is that Leaf Garrison?
Leaf, yeah.
Garrett? I don't know. For a pin
If
instead
he ever
of
comes on, you can give him the points.
Yeah. Anarchist Chef's here. What's up, buddy? And happy belated birthday to you and another subscriber. Appreciate you. All right, let's jump into it here. Welcome again, everybody, to Are You Smarter Than a Politician? I'm on X at Smarter Game Show. Terry is Bats T76, helping behind the scenes, Amity Lee 13, and Casey from the They Both Suck podcast, and he's at American versus Gov. You can get our merch, which is not as cool as their merch, apparently, because we got no love in the chat at all. But you can get our merch at freedomsuperstore.com. I am wearing my other car is a Killdozer shirt tonight. We've got shirts, and we've got mugs, and we've got dry fits, too. So we're pretty cool. And you can find us on YouTube at Freedom Uncut. And if you want to find any of our stuff, just go to smartergameshow.com. And please share this out. Help bust the algorithm. All right, so here we go. So since Trump ruined peace prizes, we've made our own. So the grand prize tonight is the Are You Smarter Than a Peace Prize? We also have Mike Johnson's signature cologne, Swamp Ass, as well as the Ayn Rand Fountainhead Teddy Bear. We've got an assortment of amazing libertarian bobbleheads. We also have the Congressional Pacemaker. It keeps you just alive enough to vote for more spending and take more money from special interest groups. We also have the Culture War Puppets. So you can bicker, blame, and obey while they loot the country more. We also have the Trump Daylight Savings account. He hasn't announced this yet, but it's coming soon. We also have all of the religious books by Trump, the Trump Torah, the Trump Bible, all of them. And I'm not taking blame for this one. This one's Andrew Heaton's fault. We also have the Trump Kama Sutra, and it's perfect for power positions, deal-making techniques, and ego massage methods.
I hear it's popular on islands.
Geopolitical. What's that?
It's popular on some islands.
Yeah, exactly. We also have geopolitical Jenga. The U.S. can't build peace. It just knocks stuff down. We have the Clarity Act fog machine. Billionaires get clarity. You get more surveillance. Here's all the bad reasons you don't want to vote for the Clarity Act. We also have the UFC White House set, but because it's the White House, you got to buy the figures separately, of course. And we've got the Trump nativity scene. It's almost August. Somebody's got to take this off our hands. Nobody wants it. And the Lego Killdozer, because nobody talks about the Killdozer more than me and Casey do. Here are the rules. I am the government. Whatever I say goes. Scoring errors count. Life isn't fair. Suck it up, Buttercup. Nobody cares. The chat controls the score. So the chat can give or take up to 100 points from contestants. And because I am the government and I believe in crony capitalism, subscribers matter more. So they can give or take 200 points from contestants because they pay me. So they get special privileges. Nuking a score. Any former contestant can nuke a score, taking it down by 1,000 points. The twist is a contestant can only be nuked once, and it's got to be for a good reason. Here we go. I will put Terry in the back. She handles the chat and the scoring. Make her life extremely difficult. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Terry.
Thanks, Terry.
I said it first.
Wrong button again. I'm out of practice here. All right, here we go. Evan, the first question is to you. The category is civil liberties. Has the federal government become the biggest threat to individual freedom?
I mean, come on, absolutely 100%. We've got over 6,000 municipalities across the country that have flock cameras and automatic license plate readers up there. Now they're grouping them with cell phone sniffers so that they can track your phone, your face, and your car all at the same time. Yeah, absolutely. Government is the biggest abuser of individual liberty and freedom, and their sole purpose is to protect our individual liberty and freedom. So yeah, it's ridiculous.
Totally agree. All right, Amanda, to you. Are unelected agencies undermining constitutional rights?
They are. First of all, I want to say taxation is theft because the people need to know this. Yeah, unelected agencies are undermining constitutional rights. They're undermining rights in general. The fact is that it behooves Congress to be able to kick the can to bureaucrats because then they get to not do any work. They don't get to get in trouble for the work that they don't do, and they get to blame the other party for not allowing them to get the work done that they promised they would get done. In reality, everyone wins except for you when the bureaucrats prevail and legislate.
Absolutely right. All right, Keith, to you. Has the definition of extremism become too broad in America?
Oh no, yeah, absolutely. I wish that people were more extreme in their support of freedom, but the government does use extremism as a way to classify someone as a terrorist. You're too extreme because you think the government shouldn't steal from you. You're too extreme because you think we shouldn't kidnap you for victimless offenses. I think that the Biden administration used extremism as a weapon, as has the Trump administration to probably a larger extent. Basic libertarian phrases have become too extreme nowadays. The government loves to have extremes so they can prevent people from using their freedom of speech and protest.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Next question is to you, Evan. The category is free speech. Is free speech meaningless if platforms can silence anyone overnight? Oh, you're muted.
Oh God, they got him.
Free speech is meaningless.
Government gets me again. LP and M7. Look it up. That's government declaring us all extremists.
LP New Mexico.
So there's no platforms. Private companies can pick and choose who they want on their services or platforms. It's private rights of businesses to make that decision. Free speech is limitations by government. But what we do see is, again, flock cameras being used to trace people so that federal agents can go to them at polling places and ask them why they're talking smack about ICE on Instagram. So a little bit of both.
Okay. Amanda, to you. Do universities still tolerate dissenting political opinions?
Sorry, as a recovering academic. See, what's funny is that they do and they don't, right? Because any kind of radical political opinion is out of balance for universities. People often talk about right-wing opinions not being tolerated at universities. Certain ones aren't. Anything that protects the status quo, though, absolutely is. Universities are just as harsh with respect to anarchists, with respect to libertarians. They do not want to hear about anything that could upset a very hierarchical system, which is exactly what academia is. I would, by the way, like to note briefly the differential between the writing on my desk and the writing on Keith's whiteboard. There's a slight difference in the amount of text on each. And I believe that this comes from my being oppressed at the university and having my opinions silenced. So I'm getting it all out now.
I had to erase mine to keep my secret plans to take over the government off
like
of the air. But yeah, it just says call George Soros because I need to remember.
My whiteboard's up there so that the camera never faces it.
I don't believe
You got to start writing on the wall.
All of my important thoughts were in those memes I just put up on the screen, so I don't have to write anything down really. So I have no whiteboard. Yeah. All right, Keith, to you. Should anonymous speech online receive stronger legal protections?
Yeah, I mean, we've had cases where people have been arrested for posting memes before. Like during the pandemic, police went to a guy's house in Louisiana because he he said something like it's. I mean, anonymous speech definitely needs more protection, but you are more protected naturally by being anonymous. I think that non-anonymous speech needs even more protection because then the government can more easily come to you.
All right. Excellent. All right. Back to you, Evan. Category is mass surveillance. Is mass surveillance already out of control in America?
No, it's great. Just trust them watching you. It's amazing. If you go to like dflock.org and you look up just the flock camera systems and you look at the stories of, there were 6 different law enforcement officers, 6 cops from one precinct that were fired for stalking their exes. One officer was stalking his girlfriend, her girlfriend's mother, her brother, Yeah, absolutely. And it's always going to be people abusing that system. When you think about it and people say something like, if you don't have anything to hide, what does it matter? Right now, the government is reading your text messages, your emails, your discussions with other people. And it's not just you, it's your wife and your daughter. So do you want that NSA agent reading the texts that your daughter is sending out? Probably not.
That's some scary stuff right there. Some feedback or something. Where's that from? Let's see. All right. Amanda, to you. Has the war on terror permanently normalized surveillance?
A lot of things have. The war on terror was one of many escalatory steps toward that. If it hadn't been the war on terror, though, it would have been something else. You never let a good crisis go to waste in the way of allowing that to sanction and allow the government to spy on civilians. So it hasn't, because there was always going to be something. You can always declare a state of emergency, and that always gives you cause to spy on people.
I agree. All right, Keith, to you. Should facial recognition technology be illegal for government use?
Yes. Facial recognition technology is as if the government is conducting mass surveillance and warrantless searches on people. They absolutely should not have the right to use that. It should be abolished. It should be removed. People should cut down their flock cameras, and we should be over it.
I agree. I muted you. The interference was coming from you, so I don't know what that was, but that's why I muted you, just to let you know. All right, Evan, you. Category is the police state. Have police departments become too militarized?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in a time where we had officer friendly who actually liked to help people instead of wanting to put them in jail, in cages for victimless crimes. And, you look at it now, and there's actually a whole department that sells leftover military equipment to police departments. You have through training programs, extended training programs that every officer has to go through, where they're learning combat techniques. If every time they come up to the car, when they're pulling over an 80-year-old woman for swerving a little bit, and they treat that person as an enemy combatant, we have war in our streets. Absolutely, the police departments have been way too militarized.
Totally agree. All right, Amanda, to you. Should qualified immunity be abolished?
Yes, and I wrote a tweet about this earlier this week on the LP account. Yes, we should abolish qualified immunity. We should abolish qualified immunity for all law enforcement and all government officials. We should abolish ICE. That's another one. Right now, the Democrats are talking about ending qualified immunity for ICE agents. That's great. It doesn't go nearly far enough, and they know that it doesn't, and that's why they're doing the little, trickle of promises ahead of the midterms. They're saying we're going to abolish qualified immunity for ICE agents. Abolish it for everything, and abolish ICE while you're at it, and replace it with nothing. It should be abolished. So should ICE for everyone.
Totally agree. It's almost like I do a little research, Amanda. You never know.
Yeah.
All right, Keith, to you. Is asset forfeiture legalized theft?
Not only is civil asset forfeiture legalized theft, I ran a billboard saying as much in Calcasieu Parish, right over the police department that is known for conducting civil asset forfeiture.
That's awesome. I need a picture of that. All right. Enter your scores in the chat if you've not done so already. Please share out the show if you've not done so. Let's check out. The chat is hopping. Here we go. Joe's got 102. I'm not pronouncing that. I am not pronouncing that. I believe he meant to type Keith. Drastoff is here. What's up? 200 to Evan for the taxation is theft hat. Oh, there's a hat in the background. I see it. 200 to Evan. Government is the biggest abuser of liberty. 200 to Amanda for taxation is theft. More points for taxation is theft. Points to Amanda for the don't tread on anyone shirt. Derek Elliott. We've got 2 chairs here. Derek Elliott's the chair of LP Canada.
Yeah.
100 to Keith for bringing extreme liberty to the forefront. Kem Regic is here. 100 to Keith for promoting extremism. 200 to Keith, extremism in the name of liberty is not an evil, but an absolute good. 200 to Keith for the lifetime member pin, the most expensive pin I also have in my collection. Same story here. Minus 13 to Evan for being muted. Yeah, you're going to get some of these, Evan. Right, here we go. 100 to Keith from Skelix. 200 to Evan for being a proud extremist. A private platform can do whatever it likes. 200 to Evan. Minus 9 to Evan for being muted, and another minus 4 for being muted on a free speech question. It was dripping in irony. 100 to Evan for having the man keeping his mic down. Yeah, that might have been the NSA. You never know. 200 to Amanda for recovering academic, or you could take points for being that. 100 to Amanda for laughing at university's free speech. 100 to Amanda for using a teleprompter that doesn't do insider trading.
How do you know it doesn't?
100 to Amanda for defending anarchists. 100 to Keith for keeping his pinky in the brain plan secret. Yeah, that's a smart strategy there. 150 to Keith for clearly suggesting the government gets the wall. 200 to Amanda for the chaos desk, the Amanda Festo. 180 to Amanda for placing the pen parallel to the edge of the desk.
Real ones know.
Yeah. 100 to Evan for the don't spy on me shirt with the spying question. Minus 100 for being muted. Them's the rules. That's fair. Oh, that's Travis from Appalachian Liberty. He runs the Great Object podcast. Great dude.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Travis.
Papa B's here. What's up? Another subscriber. 200 to Evan for the sarcasm. And 200 to Amanda for taxation is theft. 100 to Evan for having a shirt topical to the question he's answering. 200 to Evan for hitting the nothing to hide point 2. 200 to Evan for sticking up for wives and daughters, a real man. 100 to Evan for deflocked. I want it known that I am pre-gaming. That is absolutely a fair strategy for the show. No, the Astros are losing, Chris. 3-0. Go White Sox. Minus 21 to Amanda. It has and it hasn't. It is and it isn't big enough inside. I believe that's Rob Yates, a subscriber.
It is Rob Yates.
That is,
my mortal enemy.
Yeah.
The wall is thirsty, Rob.
100 to Amanda for never letting a good crisis go to waste. 200 to Amanda for knowing this was inevitable. 100 to Amanda, never let a good crisis go to waste. Points to Keith for promoting direct action, effing based. Kay's here. What's up, Kay? Another subscriber. Libertarian Party of Florida, my home state. Welcome. 100 to Evan for the D-Flock shout out. Points to Keith for cutting down cameras. Points to the first contestant to say end qualified immunity. I feel like that was in your answer. Yeah, I feel like that was in your answer. Points to Evan for F. Miller tries police. Points to Amanda, abolish ICE. Points to abolish qualified immunity to Amanda. Points to Amanda and qualified immunity. Points to Amanda for being based. Points to Keith for the billboard. Yeah, that's really based. Points to Keith for those stylish headphones. Points to Keith for the billboard. Points to Amanda for abolishing ICE. Points to Amanda, abolish qualified immunity. Virginia did that. Our cops behave much better now. Nice to hear. Points to Keith for the billboard. Points to Keith, legalized theft billboard. Points to Evan for showing his pin too. And points to Keith and civil asset forfeiture. That was a lot. It is hopping. And let's check the scoreboard. And Amanda in the lead, 32-60. Evan, 3,074. The muting hurts you a little bit there. And third place, 2807.
It's because I'm being considerate and I mute myself. So I'm not,
mute yourself for giving an answer on a show?
Yeah.
That's rude. Only I
need
can
to get
know
you
my
some.
opinions.
We need to get you
Not
some media
transparent.
training, Evan. That's I
Yeah.
think the thing. Yeah.
He's
He's used to having a
anti-transparency.
secretary do it for him.
There we go.
That's what I really need.
The minutes of the show. Yeah.
All right, Evan, back to you. The category is Iran and foreign intervention. Is America safer today because of the Iran war?
You're never safer when you have a war, an interventionist war for no reason because our buddies are dragging us along into it. Absolutely not. In fact, it's only hurt our national security, our financial independence. It's hurting families at the kitchen table, gas prices going up, food prices going up. And to be honest, I think that's the plan.
That's fair. All right, Amanda, back to you. Is America too quick to intervene overseas?
Especially when it doesn't have to do with any kind of cause whatsoever, right? I mean, we're seeing these wars happen, and they're essentially mercantilist wars, right? Or they're mercantilist interventions. Yeah, America's too quick to do things, especially when Congress isn't authorizing it. When the president is just fighting vanity wars and executing vanity missions, absolutely. This is not something that should be entered into lightly, and it's certainly something that requires an act of Congress and not just a bunch of airstrikes, so that we get that loophole.
Yeah, excellent. All right, Keith, to you. Has regime change policy failed everywhere it's been tried?
I can't think of a case where it's succeeded. I mean, we have currently attempted regime change in Iran, and we don't even know if their leader is alive or dead. But they're screwing up the entire world economy while we make it even worse. It doesn't have a good track record. Oh, regime change in America did okay during the Revolutionary War.
That's fair. Yeah. All right. Evan, back to you. The category is immigration reform. Does America need more legal immigration pathways?
So I believe in tall fences and wide gates as an immigration policy. More people coming here. It's really, really difficult to come here in the system that we currently have. The ACLU actually created a fun little mobile game where you can try to get here using the lawful pathways. Another thing is when Reagan was president, he opened up the HB1 guest worker program visas and let 1 million plus people into the country, and the economy in those sectors thrived. I think that more immigration is good for our economy. It's good for our social constructs. It brings more people, more ideas, and more viewpoints. And also it helps people escape the nightmare socialists and communists around the country, around the world.
I agree. All right, Amanda, to you. Is the current immigration system impossible to enforce fairly?
By design. I mean, the current immigration system is not fair, period. So yes, it's impossible to enforce fairly. And that's the point, right? Because now what can happen is you can have the boogeyman of illegal immigrants coming in and taking your jobs and buying your houses, I guess now, according to J.D. Vance. And then you can be arresting people who actually are here legally under the auspices of trying to purge the nation of illegal immigrants. Meanwhile, people who are trying to stay on the right side of things are still getting arrested. They're still getting detained without cause. We just saw that happen with Izzy Alley, who was only just recently released. It's impossible to enforce fairly. And again, both Democrats and Republicans profit from this at the polls.
Yeah, great points. All right, Keith, to you. Should states have more control over immigration policy?
No, I don't think they should. I don't think that the government at any level should control who lives somewhere. I think that governments being in control of who can move into a house or who can live in a community has gotten us where we are. Taking it down to the state level might help in some cases, but it doesn't really help the base issue that government shouldn't be able to dictate where peaceful people can live.
I agree with that as well. All right. Evan, back to you. The category is ICE and immigration enforcement. Does aggressive immigration enforcement hurt trust in law enforcement?
How could possibly masked men not wearing badges or uniforms violently kidnapping people off the street, throwing them into vehicles, transporting them across state lines to keep them in cages without medical attention. How could that possibly erode our trust in law enforcement? I can't. Yes, of course it does. It absolutely does. When your neighbors might be whisked away in the middle of the night, or you've got somebody banging on your front door and then guns pointed at your children because there might be an immigrant inside. It's absolutely out of control. And again, the powder keg is by design. It's a shock and awe. They're going into our communities. They're shooting peaceful protesters. They're locking people up, and then they're lying, saying that guy tried to choke to death an ice agent, and then come to find out, no, never happened. He barely resisted, and he spent time in jail. So yeah, absolutely, it erodes our trust, not just in law enforcement, but in the entire judicial system.
I agree with all that for sure. All right, Amanda, to you. Is mass deportation realistic without violating civil liberties?
Mass deportation is a violation of civil liberties. I mean, the fact is that we don't have the right to be doing any of this, right? Yeah, it's impossible to do without violating civil liberties. And again, this is by design. We have seen that the Trump administration has actually given orders to people to target individuals who are here legally because they're easier to find, and then we can make an example of them. There's no way to do this legally. There's no way to do this without violating civil liberties. Also, because you have, fortunately, people who are standing up to law enforcement and trying to fight back, and then they're getting tear gassed. They're getting rubber bullets at best. Again, this is by design. This is in order to help promote democide, just as a very, very slow trickle.
Absolutely right. All right, Keith, to you. Should due process apply fully to non-citizens facing deportation?
Oh, absolutely. Citizen rights don't come from the government, and they shouldn't stop at the border because they're not government's rights to give away. They're rights that everyone has for being a human being. And whether you're here legally or illegally, it doesn't matter. The government shouldn't be able to violate your natural rights.
I agree with that. All right. Evan, to you, the category is civil disobedience. Should people obey laws they believe are unconstitutional?
I mean, that's a tough one for everyone to decide for themselves. I'm not going to say what you should or shouldn't do. I know that I have resisted unconstitutional and immoral laws. I go and I protest. It's a decision for you to make for yourself. But I feel like if you are passionate about something, if you see the injustice happening, it's hard to talk about it if you're not going to resist it. If you're going to be complacent with it, it's hard to speak out against it. But it's a decision for you to have to make for yourself, because you have to be willing to spend that time in the county jail, or to be tear gassed, or to be handcuffed and maybe curb stomped by an angry cop with a boot. So it's up for you to decide. But if you're passionate about it, resist.
I like it. All right, Amanda, to you. Is peaceful civil disobedience still necessary in America?
All forms of civil disobedience are absolutely necessary, yes. And we've seen that the mechanisms that tend to work are these mechanisms of civil disobedience, right? This is the moderate position. The moderate position is that civil disobedience is necessary. There's no compromising on this. The way to go about making your voice heard is not simply to wait every 2 years, every 4 years. It's not simply to write your congressman. It's not simply to hope that the courts will fix it. We need more agency in this country, and civil disobedience is the most direct line that you have to your government to speak truth to power. It needs to be exercised more frequently.
What about dank memes?
Dank memes are a form of civil disobedience, especially if you're using it to troll the government and cyberbully them, which you should do.
Excellent. Then I'm on the board. All right. Keith, to you. Are jury nullification rights ignored on purpose?
I mean, in some cases, people have been arrested for telling jurors that they have the right to have a null finding. So they're definitely ignored on purpose, which makes it all the more important for libertarians to get the message out that if there is no victim, there is no crime. Government loves to make laws just to criminalize behavior that they have no business ruling over. And having nullification is an excellent way for individuals to make change. So we definitely should be promoting that.
I agree with that. All right. Enter your scores in the chat if you've not done so already. Let's check out what is going on in the chat. It's so fast, we're like behind here. So let's see what's going on.
And I just want to say about Keith's comment on due process, even if you're a constitutionalist and you're arguing with somebody from that standpoint, our Constitution is very clear that due process rights exist for every single person within our country. I agree with Keith that it's a basic right that exists for everyone everywhere, but in our country with our government, it is codified in our Constitution that everyone, regardless, has due process. Sorry, off my soapbox.
All right. Excellent.
No, I like it because now I can have "I agree with Keith" as a quote from Evan.
I did not say that. Scrub it for
Yeah, I'll
You
keep
know,
that for later.
Can you just do I ellipsis Keith just to save his phrase? Yeah. I Keith.
Excellent. All right. Joe's taking points from Amanda for being in the lead. That's fair. Points to Evan for being considerate by muting. Points to Evan, interventionalist wars never make us safer. Points to Amanda because she's in the lead. All right, so you broke even on that. Points to Amanda for mentioning mercantilism. Shout out to my pre-capitalist economic schemes. Minus to Keith for forgetting that the U.S. was a regime change. LOL.
It's premature.
Points to Keith for catching regime change in the U.S. before I called him out on that. So you broke even. 121 to Keith for regime change in America. Say no more. Points to the unfortunate soul putting Amanda's whiteboard desk in a U-Haul.
I clean it. I take pictures if I haven't transferred it to my computer, and then I wipe it down. So
oh my
it's all
God.
clean.
Yeah, I'm surprised there's a process there.
There.
Points to Evan, tall fences and wider gates. Points to Keith for regime change in America. Now that's a forever war I'd like to fight. I hope it doesn't go on forever. Points to Evan for wider gates. Minus 50 to Evan for taller fences. Points to Evan for that solid defense of immigration. Points to Evan for not giving any immigration bones to New Hampshire. Points to the current immigration system being unfair. Points to Evan, tall fences and wider gates. Points to Amanda by design. Tyler's here, welcome. First time showing up here. Are all these questions opinion-based then?
No, they're fact.
They are.
And
Yes,
just
they are.
plain based.
They're fact,
They're also
yeah.
based.
And
They're fact.
the questions are stupid, but that's not my fault. It's the government's fault because the government is stupid. 200 to Amanda for standing up for Izzy. Absolutely. Points to Amanda. Both parties are profiting from immigration. Minus to Amanda for having a treadmill next to her kitchen.
But it's not a clothes rack. There's no clothes on it, so that
Exactly.
should get some positive
This is
points.
being
I'm advocating.
used. Yeah.
I'm advocating
Thank you.
for your.
Every time I see the treadmill, I just picture Amanda going like broccoli, like walking towards the kitchen. Broccoli. Points to Keith for the government should not control where people live. Points to Keith because his smooth voice would be great for radio. Points to Keith for faking me out on where he was going on the states and the immigration question. Points to Keith, government should not dictate where peaceful people live. Iran is still 2 weeks away from obtaining nuclear weapons. Yeah. And the war has been over 40 times now too, by the way. Points to Keith because Ryan Woodcraft is a psychopath. That's an ongoing joke. Points to Evan for that pretty awesome sarcasm voice. Points to Evan for going off. Points to Amanda. Mass deportation is a violation of civil liberties. Hell yes. Points to Amanda because mass deportation is a violation of civil liberties. And more points for helping free Izzy. Points to Amanda. It is by design. Damn, they have terrible designs. Points to Keith. Rights don't. Points to Amanda for opposing genocide. Points to Keith. Rights don't come from the government and shouldn't stop at the border. Points to Keith on that base take. Points to Keith. Rights don't come from the government. Points to Evan for resisting unconstitutional laws. Points to Keith. Government doesn't supersede natural rights. Points to Keith. Points to Keith. Points to Evan for willingness to be handcuffed. Points to Evan for resist. Points to Amanda for civil disobedience. Points for Amanda, civil disobedience being the moderate position. Points to Amanda for not compromising. Points to Amanda for civil disobedience. Points to Amanda, cyberbully the government. Points to Amanda for promoting government memes. Points to Amanda for the memes. Points to Keith for getting Evan to agree with him and endorse him, by the way, and endorse him. And points to Amanda for using an ellipsis. I got to put in the rules, no ellipsis. I don't want to pronounce
fair.
stuff.
That's fair.
Yeah, I have a hard enough time with English words, so that would be bad for me. All right, let's check out the scoreboard. Evan jumps over Amanda, 60-74. Amanda just behind. Keith's falling a little farther behind. Let's see if he can make it up. First time on the show, so give him a little love in the chat. He's spouting some base stuff here.
Hey, I'm finishing in the positive. That's better than I expected.
That is true. We've had some really bad showings.
Feel free to
way
comment when I
above
finish
where some
today.
people have finished.
Yes,
Yeah.
including me. Yeah.
All right, back to it. Evan, to you. Categories cryptocurrency. This is brought to us by our sponsor, our friends at Xano. Check out intro.xano.org if you're new to privacy coins. And if you're a libertarian that's not into privacy coins, go to intro.xano.org and get up to speed. Evan, the category is cryptocurrency. Should Americans be free to use crypto without government permission?
First, shout out to LP News. If you're a member of the Libertarian Party, you should have received last month's issue in your mailbox, and it had an article from Alex Vidal about cryptocurrency with a highlight of Xano. So check that out. I also believe in just community currencies. It's a backbone of this country. There are still over 200 community currencies being used across the U.S. today. But cryptocurrencies and any blockchain technology should be free from government intervention and investigation and surveillance. It's your way of using bartering and trading with people. And so absolutely contact me or info at lp.org if you didn't get your LP News. Sorry about that. Absolutely. No government surveillance, no government intervention. You do not need permission to use cryptocurrency.
Are you working the help desk during the show? What is going on?
Nah, but it'll come to me.
Okay.
If it happens, I make sure that I get CC'd on all of that stuff because I'm a micromanaging helicopter parent.
There you go. All right, Amanda, to you. Are politicians attacking crypto because they fear competition?
I mean, yes, the government hates competition. They want to have a monopoly on governance, which is why they don't let you do anything in your own life. And that redounds also to figuring out what form of exchange, what medium of exchange you would like to use in a free market. They, in fact, punish you for using other forms of currency by taxing your capital gains. They punish you for deciding that something else works better and you are going to use it as a store of value, or you're going to try and use it to acquire more capital, and they tax the heck out of it. So yes, the government hates competition, and the way that they deal with cryptocurrency, as well as the way that they try to get into the cryptocurrency market themselves, things like CBDCs, is a huge tell.
Yeah, watch out for the CBDCs and USD1, the fake stable coin and all that stuff. Absolutely.
Different to CBD, very different thing.
Very different. Yep. Both are kind of smoke, but yeah, I agree. All right. Keith, to you. Will crypto become more important if trust in the dollar keeps falling?
Crypto will become more important as trust in the government keeps falling. The U.S. dollar is largely based on trust in the government, and it's not doing so great for government right now. But also, people should start using other forms of currency anyway, because the less the government can see about transactions, the better we all are.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, Evan, back to you. Categories privacy coins. Is regulating privacy coins really about stopping crime?
No, the whole thing about KISS and knowing who people are isn't about preventing crime. It isn't about anything like that. It's about knowing who you are and that you are trying to separate yourself from the system. It's just like when people unplug from the grid and then the government says, oh, well, according to our zoning rules, you still have to have an electricity pole. It's so that they can monitor you. It's so that they can watch you and put you on a list of people. It has absolutely nothing to do with preventing crime because those crimes still exist with Fen notes. So, sorry.
All right. Amanda, to you. Does the government have a right to see every transaction you make?
It has a right to see exactly 0 transactions that you make. Your business should be your business. Your exchanging should be your business. What you do in the marketplace should be your business. The government does not have any right to see what you are doing, how much you're doing it for. Now, obviously, if you are harming someone else, then there can be prosecution of that. But no, right off the bat, there's no cause for the government to go in and be observing every single thing that you do. Exactly 0. That's the amount of transactions the government has a right to observe with regard to a peaceful person.
I agree with that. All right, Keith, to you. Is financial surveillance the next frontier of the surveillance state?
To say that it's a frontier of the surveillance state implies there's a limit to their surveillance state, and that doesn't seem to be the case. They want to get all of the information about everyone all of the time. But definitely prying into people's purchases is an aspect of the surveillance state. But the government's doing everything it can to monitor everything all the time.
That is true. All right, Evan, to you. Categories localism and agorism. Should Americans rely less on national systems and more on local networks?
I mean, unless you're talking about shredded lettuce right now, you might be wanting to get that from a different place if you live in the Midwest. Like, you might be having a problem with that parasite right now.
No, I'm loving it.
But absolutely, buy local, shop local, grow local, grow your own food, raise your own chickens if you can. If you can't, buy from the local people down the street. You want to break the system, don't buy eggs in a store, which are also being contaminated right now. Instead, buy them from the person down the street who's raising chickens and has some extra eggs. Absolutely. Every thing happens on the local level. Support your neighbors. That's what volunteerism and cooperation is all about. It's about going to the people next door to help sustain each other and help support each other on a voluntary basis. You've got goods that I want or services that I want. I should get those from you as opposed to buying them from some multinational corporation that's just raping our planet, polluting us, poisoning our food, and then charging us triple for it. So yeah, be local.
I like it. All right, Amanda, to you. Are parallel economies becoming more attractive to ordinary people?
Unfortunately, I don't think ordinary people know what a parallel economy is. The idea, certainly. I think the appetite for a parallel economy, if people knew about them, would be more attractive. But the work that we have to do as libertarians and as activists is to get out and create and promote those parallel economies, because the groundwork is laid for people to gravitate toward those. They don't even know that they exist so much, but yes, they absolutely would be more attractive, and that's why it's incumbent upon us to go and teach people about them.
Yeah, I agree. They might not know it's called a parallel economy, right, but I think it's becoming more attractive. All right, Keith, you. Should communities build alternatives outside traditional institutions?
I think as traditional institutions get worse and worse and more monitored by the government, that's going to naturally happen. But definitely, yes. I mean, if we can rely on each other for help and trade, that's always better than going through something that can be monitored or stopped or curtailed by the government. Having our own means of doing things is always better than reliance on the state.
Absolutely. All right, Evan, to you, the category is technocratic governance. Are experts gaining too much power over public policy?
Absolutely, and it's not just experts. It's the oligarchs. It's the businesses. It's the big corporations are the ones putting these laws in front of state legislators and our Congress, and they're all to benefit them. But the big thing is we have people who are, I hate to be an ageist, but over the age of 75, making laws about regulating technology, about regulating social media, about regulating how AI can be used by individuals and companies. They have no idea what they're talking about, but they're getting these from the companies that are going to be benefiting from them. So if anything, this goes back to the idea of this isn't the government's business. This isn't the role of government, and they need to stay the hell out of it. So they don't need to listen to the experts because there shouldn't be a reason for them to be messing with it.
I like your answer, but I don't know why you had to hate on Marcus Matthews for being a boomer. That was rude. All right, Amanda, it's you. Has modern government become too dependent on technocrats?
Except for me, the one true expert on everything. Yes, it has. And again, we have this fiction that we're led to believe there are some people who are just better at making certain decisions about you over your life because they have expertise in some field. They don't have expertise in you because everyone is an individual. So again, they might have expertise over a particular subject or a particular issue, but they don't know what your own good is. That's your choice. So they can't make decisions in your own good or in the name of your own good. That's something that only you can choose, and you don't outsource that to anyone. It's also your responsibility to take it back. So do it. Libertarians need to be showing people how to do that as well.
Totally agree. Let's lead on that. Keith, to you. Should unelected agencies make rules with the force of law?
I mean, most of the laws that we have that were made by the actual government shouldn't even exist. So we don't need to start farming that out to others. Most of the laws that the government makes, especially now, are completely useless and only serve to violate people's rights. Our laws should simply be based on, have you created a victim? Have you committed force or fraud against someone? The law is so convoluted that I think most people probably break the law several times a day without even knowing it. And that just serves to give the government a way to arrest peaceful people who may be problems for them.
Definitely. All right. Evan, to you. In this one, we want to give a shout out to Ballots Without Barriers. They're doing amazing work. Go to ballotswithoutbarriers.com. They have a really cool little thing where you can send a postcard to your elected official saying you want the election rigging to stop and you want access for more candidates. Evan, the category is electoral competition and ballot access. Is the two-party system the reason Americans feel unrepresented?
Yeah, it was actually a Freedom Fest in Vegas a couple of weeks ago, and I was on a panel, and one of the panelists kept saying that we live in a two-party system. And I said, we may live in a two-party system, but we don't have a two-party electorate. They want more choices on the ballot. They want to see themselves represented and more ideas. The biggest thing is, we see like Tucker Carlson was talking about he left the Republican Party and wants to form his own party. Good luck with that, buddy. But it's because people are being, disenfranchised because Republicans and Democrats give rhetoric and then don't actually even attempt to maintain those policies. So I think most Americans just want to know that the people that are on their ballot that they're voting for are actually going to do the things they say. And the two-party systems keeps those voices and those options out. So absolutely.
Totally agree. And we had a great time at Freedom Fest. You should go next year if you did not go this year. Amanda, to you. Should it be easier for third parties to get on the ballot?
It should. And for this reason, I don't even like saying third parties. It implies that there's a ranking, and it kind of implies that there are three. It should be easier for alternative parties to get on the ballot. Keith sometimes says old parties versus new parties, and I like that a lot too. The way that the old parties conspire to keep new entrants off the ballot, we talked about it earlier, the government hates competition. And right now the old parties of the government is absolutely egregious when you look at what happens at the state and local levels. We're seeing in Iowa, RFK Jr. violating the Hatch Act to try and keep libertarians off the ballot. We've seen it with the Greens, with Jill Stein not being able to get on the ballot, not being able to get on the debate stage. We've seen it with libertarians in Florida, Addison Patrick thank goodness, has won a ballot challenge case. We're seeing it in New Jersey with Lana Legia. We're seeing it all over the place. They will find these crap laws that nobody has ever enforced and sometimes don't even exist, but they say there ought to be a law. And then they try to drag someone from a minor party who wants to give voters a real choice into court to enshrine that old party governance. It should be much easier for parties to get on the ballot, and there should be action taken to make sure that that can happen. That's also why, by the way, Ballots Without Barriers is such a great initiative and enterprise. So I didn't know they were sponsoring, but I'm glad.
Free, I need to interrupt as national chair for a second. There's also a case that just happened in Florida. Our congressional candidate, the Libertarian candidate there, was just sued by the GOP, by the Republican operatives, to kick him off the ballot. This is a coordinated attack on our congressional candidates across the country to thin the ballot so that they feel like they have a better chance. I'm not sure the candidate's name. I just got this today, but I'm sure Joe Hanush in the comment section can point out who they are. Please go support these candidates. They need your support to fund their legal fights against these just egregious abuse of the court system. Thanks.
Totally agree. All right, Keith, to you. Should ranked choice voting replace the current nationwide system?
Yeah, I mean, ranked choice voting does offer a lot of benefits, right? And to kind of steal one of the previous questions, though, I think that ballot access should be easier for the old parties as well. If it were easier for Republicans and Democrats to get on the ballot, it would also help prevent them from controlling it. And ranked choice also is a good way for is a good way to help keep the top-down control out of our systems. Yes.
That's a great point. You might get better candidates from the duopoly then.
Republicans and Democrats love controlling elections so much they control their own elections.
Oh, yeah. It starts way before the ballot's printed, for sure. All right. Evan enter scores if you've not done so already. If you're enjoying this, please share it out again. The chat is fire. I'm going to try to go quick, and Amanda's going to say I can't read, so that's going to be fun. All right. Points to Keith because it's Keith. Come on. All right, we got some points for you. Yep, more points to Keith. Points to Keith for being in last. Points to Evan for the relevant plug. Points to Amanda for falling to second place. 2 points. 200 first-timer points to Keith. 200 to Keith for showing up against the veterans. Points to Evan for the tism. Emailing Congress critters is a waste of time. That's probably true. Nathan Madden's here. What's up, buddy? 100 to Amanda. Government is a BS monopoly. Points to Amanda for pro-crypto, anti-government. Points to Amanda for saying government hates competition. Points to Amanda for encouraging competition. Minus to Tony for every time the Bills lost the Super Bowl, and 100 points for every time they won. I like to see the fighting in the chat sometimes. Points to Keith for those beautiful baby blues. Points to my son for bringing Amity a chocolate shake from Portillo's. That was nice. Points to Keith for pivoting to distrust in the government. Minus 100 to me for forgetting that I am the government, so that makes me stupid. Oh, there's lots of reasons that make me stupid, but thanks for pointing that one out. My buddy Jake from Tough Love Records is here. He shared it out. Check out their new stuff. They've got some really cool stuff they just launched. Points to Keith for making the connection that trust can increase for crypto when people trust the government. Might be a while for that one. Points to Nathan Madden for running for office. Yeah, he's a stud. Vote Libertarian. Points to Amanda for putting forks in government eye sockets. Government fears anything they cannot control. That's 100% true. More true even in Canada. Somebody got points for their shirt. Minus points to Keith for being me. Oh, that is you, Keith. All right. I get the joke. Points to Amanda for the government hates competition. Points to Keith, Big Brother is watching. Points to Amanda, the government has exactly zero business in my business. Great point, Jonathan. Points to Evan for diarrhea lettuce. I don't even want to know. Points to Evan, growing your own food and supporting local. Points to Evan for acknowledging that poop lettuce is a good reason to find another supplier. Points to Evan for repping local farmers. Points to Evan for being ageist. and more points for being ageist. And points to Evan for the air quotes. Points to Amanda for the government not having expertise over us. And more points for your shirt. Points to Keith for pointing out that not even the government should be making these laws. Points to Keith, the laws are dumb. Points to Keith, farmers markets, not law, farming. Points to Keith, bureaucrats suck. Points to Keith for not wanting non-government entities making law. The Libertarian Party points out that parallel economies is just the weekend farmers market if you pay in cash. Points to Keith for 3 felonies per day. I try to do more, but I'm an overachiever.
Yeah, you got to bump those numbers up.
Yeah. Points to Keith, too many laws. Points to Evan, people want freedom to choose. Points to Evan for explaining that KYC is the illicit activity. Points to Evan for getting sassy at Tucker. Points to Evan for letting me carry his water at Freedom Fest. That was a great post. Points to Evan, people want to vote for people who do what they say. Points to Amanda. Points to Amanda, alternative, not third. Points to Amanda for acknowledging that there are more than 3 parties. Points to Amanda for defending the Greens. They need our help. Points to Amanda for the Addison Liberty Patrick shout out. She's running in Jacksonville. Vote for her if you're there. Points to Amanda for mentioning the underappreciated Hatch Act. Points to Amanda for my wife, registered green. Points, minus to Keith for using the power of his office to
It's supposed to
speak
be
out.
Evan that was corrected. I saw in the chat. Yeah.
And I just want to say, I'm willing to lose if it helps our congressional candidate in Florida.
That's fair. That's fair.
He's just trying to get points, guys. That was also a plug for points.
That was pulling at the heartstrings there.
Points to Amanda for the New Jersey shout out. Points to Keith for being in favor of ranked ballot. Points to Keith for supporting ranked ballot. Peter Jasinoff for U.S. House District 25 here in Florida, who is a Republican. They're trying to kick him off the ballot. Points to Keith for his whiteboard on the wall and not looking at his desk.
Efficiency.
Points to Keith because he was down 1,000 last time. Points to Amanda for changing the language paradigm on new parties. Points to everyone the system is rigged. Points to Amanda to afford her hair.
That's so short. That's why it's so short.
I thought you just wrote a balloon on it.
That's right.
Points to Larry Sharp because he's still answering a question from the You Are the Power fundraiser in March. And I had a great time on Larry Sharp last night. If you didn't see it, catch the replay. Larry's an awesome guy. And I hope the next governor of New York running as a libertarian. Minus 13 from Amanda because the Green Party still owes me money for ballot access. I only do it free for the LP. All right. Let's check out the scoreboard here. Oh, we had a little flip-flop here. Little switcheroo.
Oh, no.
Amanda in the lead, 8807. Keith now in second.
Down
And
with the chair.
muted Evan that interrupts sometimes while not muted, 8517.
Okay, Evan, we can help candidates by having you lose. I'm pretty sure that was a direct quote from you. If
Yeah,
I lose,
I'm
the
good with
candidates win.
I do want to
New
say,
fundraiser.
I wanted to interrupt when Keith was talking about regulatory capture in those agencies. I actually just today finished the last edit on my next book, Good Ideas Don't Require Force. And there's a whole chapter explaining regulatory capture. And I talk about the 3 felonies a day and how it's actually an unknown number because there's over 10,000 federal laws and over 300,000 federal regulatory laws. So it's an unknown. Maybe one day you commit none, and then the next day you commit 17 felonies.
Yeah. All right, let's jump back into it here. All right, back to you, Evan. The category is drug policy. This one's sponsored by our friends at Zoom Beyond Shrooms. Check them out at zoomtrip.com, xumtrip.com. Evan, the category is drug policy. Should all drugs be decriminalized for personal use?
I think that they should be decriminalized for any use you want, medical, recreational, personal, groups, whatever. I've been sober for 23 years. It's not my bag, but what you decide to put in your body with you and your friends is up to you. It has absolutely nothing to do with me. And it's as long as you're being peaceful and not taking other people's stuff, it's none of the government's business. You do you, boo.
Oh, the Nikayla quote. I like it.
Did he say that?
He said
You
boo
do
boo.
you, boo?
You do boo boo. Yeah, a couple
Oh,
times.
okay. Never saying that again.
Yeah. Sorry.
Press it
All
on.
right. Amanda, to you, has prohibition created more danger than the substances themselves?
It absolutely has, because now you have black markets, which are, you have these drugs that are being laced with all sorts of things. You have people who are not able to trace the source of the drugs that they're getting, right? It's absolutely made things more dangerous. You can't predict the kind of high you're going to get. So yes, it's made things more dangerous. I do want to shout you out, Free, by the way. I saw an interview, a little soundbite for you, where you were being asked about why libertarians want to sell heroin to 5-year-olds. I just want to say, I don't want to sell heroin to 5-year-olds. I doubt that they have the income for heroin, so it would just be a losing battle. But yeah, prohibition creates more problems.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it's a bad business model. I don't want to get involved in that either.
They can scarcely afford it.
Yeah, you really couldn't do it without government subsidies, and you probably could get some though, but yeah.
Like the welfare queen 5-year-olds buying heroin, no thank you.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. All right, Keith, to you. Is addiction a health issue more than a criminal issue?
Addiction is entirely a health issue. You've only done it to yourself. The government shouldn't be involved in you harming yourself. With decriminalization, I don't necessarily believe that drugs should be decriminalized or legalized, because when you decriminalize a drug, you can get in a situation where there are still civil penalties, and you can legalize a drug and the government can still tax it into oblivion. We should abolish all laws concerning drugs whatsoever, right? If often the government will get in a situation where they'll have a bill that says, hey, we're gonna legalize this so that we can raise money off of it. And that just gives them one more thing to tax. And then there's still a black market for it. People are still lacing it with fentanyl, and there's still all these issues. I want drugs so legal that there is no reason to even hide it. Therefore, you would have no reason to get tainted things. There will be no market for methamphetamines and other very dangerous drugs, because you could get safer alternatives.
Great points. All right, back to you, Evan. The category is criminal justice reform. Does America incarcerate too many nonviolent offenders?
It's actually a corporate business model. You have private prisons in every state, federal prisons operated by private companies who have mandatory occupancy rates that have to be met by the state, or they get a fine in their contract. We incarcerate more people than the next 5 largest countries combined. And the vast majority of those are nonviolent offenders. They're people typically from the drug war who were caught with something. And thankfully, the Supreme Court recently just said that just having a medical cannabis license and a gun does not make you a federal criminal. And it has for decades that was considered a crime, because you had the audacity to use cannabis, but then also availed yourself of your Second Amendment rights. So absolutely, we lead first with incarceration, and most of it is because we want to get you into the system. If you look at the broken window policing policies in this country, where if we can hook you up for a small minor infraction, we're going to get you looped in on the revolving door of the criminal justice system, so that you're always paying the state money and you can never advance out of it.
Definitely true. All right, back to you, Amanda. Has the justice system become too expensive for ordinary Americans?
I mean, the only thing I take issue with in that question is the word become. It essentially always has been, or has been for quite some time. You have a multi-tiered justice system, not just a policing system. And this is where plea bargains really do serious damage, because it's much cheaper to plead down a case than it is to actually fight for your rights, than it is to actually pursue a fair trial. And that's unacceptable. You can afford better attorneys if you are wealthier. And that also creates, as Evan was talking about, because we have these mandatory minimum occupancy rates, then guess who is more likely to be fitting that quota? it's going to be people who are lower income. So all across the board, you have a two-tier justice system. And I can't let this category go by without me mentioning once again that it is the prison guards union that lobbied for mandatory minimums, everybody. So you can thank the prison guards union also for part of this ridiculous, sick policing and criminal justice structure we have in this country.
I love that was the first time you spell checked one of my questions. So I feel like that was a personal victory for me.
Yeah. You're so
excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
She has the correct spelling on her desk.
I cheated.
Keith, are prosecutors too powerful in the current system?
Prosecutors have been caught cheating and lying in favor of the government, right? Like there have been cases where they have forged DNA evidence, where they have overstated the strength of evidence, or where they didn't, they just straight up make it up, and then people are forced into a plea. So that they're absolutely too powerful, and then we underfund and undervalue people who are doing defense work. But government in general, when it comes to the criminal justice system, would be less expensive if we didn't have so many laws that people were being charged with. If the law were limited to things that it should be limited to, the initiation of violence, force, and fraud, then it would be much easier for the system to be fair.
Totally agree. All right, Evan, to you. Category is LGBT rights and equal protection. Are equal rights best protected by limiting government power overall?
So this is an interesting question because I think that LGBT rights are expressly being treated equally under the law, not special rights, not, for any group, for any collectivist, for any, part segment of society. It all comes down to everybody having an equal standing under the law, that the law treats you the same as it does every other neighbor. So I would say not just LGBT people, but also, every, gender, sex minority, every racial minority, every oppressed people are all going to benefit from a government that respects and protects people's individual rights, as opposed to a government that is constantly infringing on our rights and allowing hand in hand with our corporate overlords to violate our natural rights.
Totally agree. All right, Amanda, to you. Should businesses have the right to refuse services based on personal beliefs?
I mean, it comes down to what you feel you should be doing in your own business, right? And the thing with this is that if somebody is being a total jackwad and refusing service to people in a way that you don't like, then you can absolutely flame them in the public sphere and in the public square. So this is where I think people absolutely have a role to play when businesses are denying people entry if they think that it's wrong. That is where people are able to step up and flame them. That should be the process that we go through. You should expose businesses for doing this and, have them suffer financially if you want them to.
That's the way to do it. All right, Keith, to you. Should the government treat every adult equally under the law, regardless of identity? You're muted.
It's not being
I
transparent.
apologize. Evan snuck into my office when Amanda was on screen and hit the microphone mute button. No, we need government inspecting everyone's genitals to know what rights you should have. Because if people were treated equal under the law, then you wouldn't be able to fight a culture war. You wouldn't be able to make people to campaign against those that you feel are lesser than you. So yeah, the government should be able to. No, the more we depower the government, the more we empower individuals. And the government should not be able to treat people differently just because of their identity, whether it's to their advantage or detriment.
I agree with that. All right. Evan, back to you. The category is religious liberty. Does government overreach threaten faith communities across the board?
I think it does. I think that, I think that there's some groups who think that their religious liberty is being violated because other people are allowed to exist in the world and in public society, and they don't like that. That's not religious liberty, sorry. But when a government says that you as a group can't get together and pray because you're on public property, I think that's a violation of your religious liberty. I think that they are expanding into it, but I also think that there's another side to it, which is where you have, especially in state legislatures, you have religious doctrine being imposed through state government and religious dogma being enforced through state government. And that is a violation of other religious groups or people who are agnostic or atheist or who just want to live their life without somebody else's morality being thrown on them.
I agree with all that. All right, I'm handing it to you. Should churches stay entirely separate from state regulation?
Yeah, and for the same reason that we were just discussing. Any time that the state is able to regulate something or the state is able to give special privileges to something, that creates a sort of entrenchment where that organization, be it a church or anything else, can influence the state can influence that organization. These should be separate. Just like the market and the state should be separate. These are separate entities so that the state and the other institution don't get to intermingle and don't have more undue power over individuals' lives.
I like that. All right, Keith, to you. Should businesses be allowed to operate according to their owners' beliefs?
I mean, assuming that the owner's beliefs are in line with the non-aggression principle and they're not selling child organs, then yeah, your business is your property. So the government has no right to come in and say what you should or shouldn't do. They shouldn't they shouldn't force you to serve anyone, and they shouldn't forbid you from serving anyone. If I want to feed the homeless, I shouldn't have the government coming into my business and pouring bleach on the food. If someone wants to have a business practice that I disagree with, I don't have the right to initiate force to stop them. And because I don't have that right, the government can't do that on my behalf. They don't have any more rights than an individual.
I agree with that too. All right, last three questions of the night. And I've been sneaking peeks at the scoreboard. It's really close. So I'm excited to see what happens here. Evan, to you, the category is the next Liberty wave. Has the two-party system stopped representing ordinary Americans?
Absolutely. We see across the country that more and more people are shedding their party registration. I hate to say this, but the DSA just announced that they have 120,000 monthly pledgers, which is kind of ridiculous. But you see people leaving because they're sick and tired of the bombardment of rhetoric, the empty promises. You had, both the Democrats and the Republicans in the last 20 years have had, at one point, had an absolute control on government. And then they never tackled the things that supposedly were important to them. It's impossible for them to, vote for somebody that's actually going to do the things that they say that they believe in, because the two-party system only allows those choices. If we had more competition in the ballot, we'd get new ideas, fresh ideas. We'd be able to hold more elected officials accountable by showing them that we can boot you out because they have more options. So absolutely.
Definitely. All right, to you. Are younger voters becoming more anti-establishment than ideological?
Yeah, and I actually kind of bemoan this trend because anti-establishment is kind of just it can verge into reactionism if there's nothing motivating it, right? So we do actually need to have an ideological renaissance in this country, because if you're solely anti-establishment and you don't understand why, then you're simply going to reject for the sake of rejecting, and there's not going to be any forward momentum. We do need to have younger voters discovering ideologies. And what I really mean by that is figuring out their own set of beliefs and formulating their own ideology. I kind of believe that everyone has an individual ideology, and you just kind of try and gravitate toward general camps, and it happens organically where you feel that you fit best, but you were in a constant process of changing that makeup of that ideological structure. So yeah, I do see that pattern, and I'm sort of worried about it, which is why I also think the LP needs to be leading in terms of ideological education. What does it mean to be libertarian? What do we stand for? What are we trying to do together? These are big questions that we need to be answering publicly. And since this is the last question, I will say a few things. Taxation is still theft. Taxation is also extortion. Embezzlement is theft and in the Fed. Thank you.
I like the little ending there. Excellent. All right, last question of the night to you, Keith. Is the future of politics more decentralized and community-driven?
Well, I certainly hope that the future of government is not more central control and top-down planning. Government is force, taxation is theft, and the state is a territorial monopoly on the initiation of violence. We should do everything we can to fracture that and break it down to a more manageable level. I, as an anarchist, would like no government, but since I probably can't get that in my lifetime, then I'll take the smallest I can get. I would like a government small enough that I can drown it in a bathtub.
And that is the perfect way to end it right there. Enter your scores in the chat if you have not done so already. Tell us what you thought of the show. Tell us who you thought won. Please share it out again if you think people would enjoy the replay. The chat is still fire. So
Love the chat. Hi,
Casey
chat.
finally showed up. He usually complains I'm late, but he's late this time. Points to me for talking with the Sharpies last night. It was a great discussion. Had so much fun on that, Bronner. Thank you, man. Points to Evan for admitting he wanted to interrupt Keith, but not actually doing it. Points to Evan for the felonies. Points to Evan for all legalized drugs. Points to Evan for being sober, leaving the straight edge kids alone. Points to Evan, you do you, boo. Points to Evan for calling me boo. Points to Evan for 20 years sober. Points to Evan for impressive sobriety stretch. Points to Evan for continuing the denouncement of actions by the previous chair, boo boo. Minus to Evan for the book name being derivative, but points for writing a book about liberty. Points to Amanda for black markets. Points to Amanda, the black market is more dangerous. Points to Amanda for colorblind markets. Points to Amanda for wanting single origin cocaine so we can avoid fentanyl. Points to Keith, abolish all drug laws. Points to Keith, take the ability to tax stuff. Points to Evan for living in an attic or a basement or whatever it is. Points to Keith for that excellent point on civil penalties for drugs. Points to Keith, legalization reverses the iron law of prohibition. Points to Keith. Points to Evan because corporate prison companies are a scourge on the American landscape. An ICE detention contractor, GEO Group, is a huge employer in my county. Many points to Zoom. We all love Zoom. I might be on a Zoom call right now. You never know. Points to Evan for proving private prisons are not private. Points to Evan, you do you, boo-boo. Points to Evan, weed does not negate your Second Amendment. Points to Evan for being nonviolent. Points to Evan, let's tear down that revolving door of the justice system. Points to Amanda for the always has been argument that applies to a lot of these questions. The government's dumb, not me. Points to Amanda, to her point that the justice system has always been too expensive, for pointing out that they force you to take a plea with absurd cost to not take it. 100% Kyle. Points to Phil for getting free on Larry's show. Thanks Phil for doing that. And thanks to Andrea for the bathing suit pictures of me on X all night last night. Points to Amanda, plea bargains are BS. Points to Amanda for exposing prison guard unions, public sector unions are abhorrent. Points to Amanda, plea bargain answer. Points to Keith, we have too many laws. I've done this on before, I think, but 100 to the first panelist to mention.
SEK3. I mentioned it.
I think you have to say the whole name. I'm gonna.
Sec 3. Suspicious equine knowledge.
Yeah, me.
Points to Keith for prosecutorial abuses. Points to Evan, everybody has equal standing under the law. Points to Evan, rights are rights. There are no carve-outs. Points to Evan for wearing glasses that look a lot like mine. Points to Evan, laws are for all neighbors and the government is infringing on our rights. Points to Amanda because I really am envious of that whiteboard desk. It's not even a whiteboard. She just ruins desks.
That's what I do.
She gets a new one from IKEA, like delivered every Tuesday and Thursday. Points to Amanda for the real BBB. Boycott bigoted businesses. You lost points for being muted, Keith. Points to Amanda. The right to associate also must allow for the right to disassociate. Minus to Keith for the mute, but another minus 13 for blaming it on Evan.
Right. I blame everything on Evan.
Minus for the mute and points for the loud guffaw from Evan. Minus to Keith for trying to throw Evan under the bus for the mute. Minus to Amanda for not using a made-up 8-syllable word yet. 20 points for Jackwad. Yeah, she hasn't really screwed me up that bad tonight.
Yeah.
Points to Evan for actually understanding religious liberty. Points to Keith, depower government, empower individuals. Points to Evan for keep religion out of government. Points to Amanda for the free, I like that. Points to Evan for support of public prayer. Points to Amanda for building the wall of separation between church and state. Points to Keith for making me think of small pipe organs. Points to Evan for business rights, except non-aggression. Felix is here. Nice meeting you all. And he is from the classical liberal caucus. We have a lot of friends there. Minus to Evan for mentioning the DSA. Points to Evan for hating to mention the DSA. I have a longtime Dem friend considering the LP because of the DSA infiltration. 200 to Evan, call it out, dude. DSA is evil. 200 to Evan because he's my favorite national political party chair by a long shot. Points to Amanda, the youth needs principle. Points to Amanda for being anti-reactionary and repelling novel theory. Right?
Repping novel theory. Repping, not repelling it.
What did I say?
You said repelling.
I'm going fast.
It's no use.
Did I say repelling? That was bad.
Repelling.
No, that was bad. It's going to be a clip. Points to Keith for the last question of the night. Points to Amanda for the happy ending. Oh, boy. Points to Keith, government is forced. Points to Griff, her closer. Points to Keith for government is forced. Points to Keith for wanting to take a bath with the government. And points to Evan is that a massive gun safe in the background. I think it's just a door. All right. Let's see where we ended up. The point totals are crazy huge. And here we go. Evan with the win.
Oh, man.
173. Keith in second and Amanda just behind. Oh boy, we're gonna hear about this one for a while.
You're not.
Amanda, third place. What did you think?
Yeah, I don't regret it because I took a bold stand against chairs. I don't regret it at all.
And plug what you're up to.
What I'm up to is being vice chair of the Libertarian Party. That's the thing. Also with LP Alliance, that's LP_allies on X. We're doing cool stuff. And also editing The Torch, which is thetorch.media. We're actually getting a lot of cool article submissions, including from LNC members, but would love to see them from non-members as well. So do submit your articles and read some cool stuff. It's more of a theoretical thing, Liberty Movement's new voice. So check it out.
Awesome. And you can check out Amanda on X at Ajax the Griff. LP Alliance is at LP_allies, and she's the vice chair of the Libertarian Party. And would this be a good time? So I was supposed to do Amanda's nomination speech at the convention.
Do you have your suit then?
She made me write a 1-minute
Oh, I
version,
made you
a
write.
3-minute version, and a 5-minute version.
And all of them are on her desk.
3 in a row. All 3 in a row.
Yeah, you can do all 3 in a row. Let's go.
All right. We'll do that after the break.
Okay.
All right. And second place to Keith. First time on the show. What'd you think, buddy?
I had a great time. I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
And plug what you're up to.
I am up to trying to chair the Libertarian Party of Louisiana. We are hoping to run a congressional candidate in every district. So if there is anyone in my state that would like to run, please let me know. And if you're not in my state, then give us your money so that we can afford to do this.
Sounds like a good plan. And if you want to give them money, go to lplouisiana.org. You can follow Keith on X at Keith for Liberty, and their X is at Louisiana LP. We appreciate having you on, buddy, and hope you had a good time. And, you know, it's only fitting that the chair won. What'd you think tonight, Evan?
It's always a blast hanging out with you, Free, and these other people on the panel. No, we've got a great team on the LNC this year, this term. We're getting a lot of things done. We're, just in the last 2 months, we've already reversed a lot of courses. We stopped the bleed of members leaving. We're gaining new members. The LP News printed edition has hit people's new mailboxes. The second edition, actually, I think just went to print today. That hasn't existed in, I think, 4 years. We got the 1-800-ELECT-US phone number back. So give us a call, 1-800-ELECT-US, if you're interested in finding out more about the Libertarian Party, your local affiliate, or if you'd like to run for office. We've been doing a lot to support our candidates across the country, especially the ones that are being victims of lawfare by Republicans who are cowards and want to kick off other voices off the ballot. I just finished the final edit of my next book. Good Ideas Don't Require Force. Hopefully it'll be out in the next month. And if you can't wait for that, you can also check out my angsty, crappy short poetry, Anatomy of a Riot, available on Amazon.
Awesome. And let's add Terry back here. Terry, what'd you think tonight?
I was scared to be muted, so I double checked. You guys, thank you so much. You did a great job talking about liberty, and the chat just loved it, and so did I. I think you're going to do a great job in spreading the word, and hopefully you'll all be back soon and do it a little bit more. What do you think?
That'd be fun.
Yeah,
And
I think so.
thank you again to our sponsor, Xano. They support the Libertarian Party as well. Your privacy matters. Choose Xano, the leading blockchain platform that prioritizes confidentiality and security. And if you're new to the space and you want to learn about privacy coins and why they're so important to the Liberty movement, check out intro.xano.org. And thank you again to all of our subscribers. You guys make the show happen. If you want to subscribe, you can do so on X. If you want to sponsor the show, email studio@freedomuncut.com. And again, we will be at the Midwest Peace and Liberty Festival. That's August 6th through 9th. It's at Lake Satoshi, Michigan. And you can register at mplfest.org. Thank you to everybody in the chat. You made this so much fun. Thank you to you three, not just for being on the show, but all you do for the Liberty movement and the party. Appreciate you all so much. And we will see you again next Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. And peace out, y'all.